Hello, BillWhittle.com members, the best informed people on the internet. And I mean that. Think about it. You've got the three of us parsing the news for you for just $10 a month. So you're well informed and frugal shoppers. Win-win. All right. And have I got the good news for you today? PJ Media's Liz Sheld reports that after Trump victory, minorities flocked to gun stores. And I really do think this is great news. But before we get to that, we have to get into the coverage of this story from NBC News, which is just as you can imagine. NBC headlined it, Trump's victory has fearful minorities buying up guns. They quoted Earl Curtis, the black owner of a firearms store in Virginia, saying, quote, "You feel that racists now feel like they can attack us just because the president is doing it." Bill, I want to go on record here and say that if the president-elect ever starts beating up a black person, I hope that person is fully armed and ready to fight back. How about you?
Sounds like a good idea to me. As usual, this poor man is a victim of this media narrative that's been propagated by Barack Obama and Eric Holder and Loretta Lynch and all the rest. He's got it into his head that white people just go down the street and assassinate black people in America, and it doesn't happen. I don't think that it's happened single case of this kind of thing in decades. And as always, when we look at these kind of statistics, we come to the truth which nobody wants to face. The truth is that 94% in 2014, 94% or 96% of all blacks were killed by other blacks. And so if you're going to make your crusade about Black Lives Matter and how white racists are the problem, if you're going to address the 4% and leave the 96% not only alone but unmentioned, you've got a political program there, not an actual program. As far as the buying guns goes, freedom is for everybody or freedom's not for anybody. That's how it works. They're certainly entitled to this. I think what would be interesting for them is, I hope that if those liberals that do actually go through with this, there's a lot of talk about it, but I don't think very many of them are going to actually go through with it because they faint at the sight of an apple peeler. But it would be nice if a few of them do that and then go to the gun range to get trained in these things, and then they'll find out on the gun range just exactly how wrong they are about all of us. That'll be an interesting sight to see.
Yeah, Bill, the black-on-black violence is one of the great underreported tragedies of our country, and I would say that's because almost all of it occurs in cities that have been run by Democrats and nothing but Democrats for decades.
They're little pits of murder and crime, and the reason they're filled with murder and crime is because there's no hope there. There's absolutely no hope for your future. You get a government check on the first of the month, it gets deposited into your account, and then you have to live on this until the next government check. There's no economy there because the crime is so high. The crime is so high because they're hopeless. They're hopeless because they're indebted to the government. They are literally eating hand to mouth out of the hand of the government. And you're right, Steve. Every one of these horrible cities has been governed by Democrats for 50, 60, 70, 80, 90 years in a row. The reason we know this is due to Democrats is because the Big Apple had this exact same kind of problem with crime and murder and degeneracy and all the rest, and then by some miracle, a Republican was put in there as a mayor, and Rudy Giuliani turned New York City from the world's biggest murder pit into an actual honest-to-God city where you can walk through Times Square at 3 in the morning and feel perfectly safe.
Yeah, you sure can. That's a story for another day, but maybe we'll be able to dig into this after the new year. All right, NBC News also reported, and this is a quote, in 2014, 54% of blacks surveyed by Pew said gun ownership does more to protect people from crime than put people's safety at risk, versus just 29% who said that in 2012, almost double. Now, Scott, if you read this whole story from NBC, especially with the headline I told you about a minute ago, don't you get the feeling that liberals are more afraid of black Americans changing attitudes about gun? Hell, they're more afraid of black Americans legally and responsibly owning guns than they are of Donald Trump?
Well, first of all, I got to say, you lost me at read this whole story by NBC News.
That's my bad.
That's a bridge too far. But I think, it's not every day that we get to report unadulterated good news. But this is unadulterated good news. And think about the many ways in which this is good news. Number one, Gun stores, probably located near impoverished urban areas, are going to see an increase in business. Those dollars will circulate locally and help other small business owners to thrive as well. So that's a good thing. Number two, these people who are buying guns are actually among the few in the country who are specifically buying them for the purpose that the Second Amendment protects the purchase and carrying of firearms, to defend yourself against the predations of a tyrannical government. So, if in fact our federal government did become like they fear it will become, because of things that they've interpreted that Donald Trump has said, well, that's exactly why we have a Second Amendment, so that you can protect yourself from that kind of terrible government. Number three, as you've pointed out, there's been a terrible crime wave over the years that has afflicted disproportionately people who live in inner cities and disproportionately people of color. So now that they have these handguns, and I'm going to bet won't have much use for them in defending themselves against the government, they will in fact have a handgun on hand when it comes time to defend their families from the predations of the street thugs who have been terrorizing them for years. I don't think that there's any bad aspect to this story. Everybody benefits. The people are safer. The thugs get it where they deserve it. And just in case it turns out that Donald Trump is the guy they think he is, they'll be ready to meet that threat too.
If Donald Trump is the guy they think he is, they're going to have to get behind all of the conservatives in the country.
That's right.
Who are going to be ahead of them and somewhat more experienced with their rifles and their pistols. Yeah. This idea that that white America, led by Donald Trump, is now free to prey upon the black population it's just the rotten moral core of what's left of progressivism.
Yeah. Scott, you left out two important benefits. One, of course, is that this has progressives' panties all up in a wad, and it will for as long as this story continues, which I hope is for a very long time.
And by the way, there's nothing like gunfire to de-wad one's panties.
Indeed. Oh, indeed. And the other benefit, of course, is that I read NBC News, Scott, so that you don't have to.
Thank you.
All right, folks, I guess what I want to say to brand new black or Hispanic or Asian or LGBTQRSTUV gun owners is welcome to the club. You've taken your first big step in becoming full-fledged citizens with real responsibility and power to protect yourself, your families, your neighbors, and even your Constitution. But don't just buy a pistol and stick it in a drawer somewhere. Go down to your local shooting range and learn to shoot, to clean, and to store your firearms safely. And you know what? I'm not kidding about this. Bring your kids with you, too. I have a 10-year-old who I would literally trust with my life because he knows how to shoot and because he knows gun safety just as well as my grandfather, and he's the one who taught me. And, have fun. Putting lead on target is more fun than I can describe. So get yourself down to the shooting range and have fun developing what is really just a tremendous new skill. And while you're there, guess what? You're going to meet some of the nicest, most knowledgeable, and believe it or not, most sharing people you'll meet anywhere.
It's true.
And some of them might even be Trump voters. I'll see you at the range. Oh, and to our paying members, pass this message along, please, and you can call it your own because I think it's an important one to get out there. But mostly, thanks so much for your support. You got us through a very, very weird year, and I hope the three of us were able to return the favor. So thanks again, and we'll see you next time.